So for protein in urine, protease or food enzymes, if you get stretch marks, well, I wish I knew this. My stomach looks like a road map. But did you ever see women that, like a week after they had the baby, they're out on the beach in a bikini? Don't you like really hate them that they can do that? But you should have no stretch marks. If you do, that means your B vitamins are low, your fatty acids are low, or your zinc is low, or any of the combination. But if your Bs were normal, if you had enough fatty acids and your zinc was normal, you wouldn't get any stretch marks. I suggest no more than 1 zinc tablet a day because it can pull too much copper out and you don't want to do that. If you eat fermented foods, that would be good for the B vitamins, and it will help the gut flora of the baby when you breastfeed it. And I really am a strong advocate of fatty acids. Fatty acids really help nourish the baby's brain and nervous system. My grandkids, when they were young, would sleep the whole night through, very young. Of course, that was because we'll talk about that later on. But noise didn't cause them to jump. Their little nervous systems were really good. The only one that has a slight problem was Ben. For a little while, Ben started getting a little bit of Tourette's because my daughter had twins and we didn't know that. We only gave her enough fatty acids for 1 baby. We should have really done it for 2. But fatty acids not only help the baby's brain, it helps prevent depression during and after the pregnancy, and it prevents you from, or makes it less likely that you are going to rip, because it causes the muscle in the vagina and the cervix to be soft so that it would expand rather than tear.
How much fatty acid should the mother take during a pregnancy?
I would probably do about 1,000 milligrams for her and 500 per baby for the baby, at least. I would not go over 3,000 milligrams though, because that's too hard on her liver. What I really like to tell some women to do, and it helps with the stretch marks too, is to take coconut oil and rub coconut oil on your body. So take your fatty acids for your nervous system, and the baby can get his or hers by the coconut oil on the tummy and arms and legs and whatever part you want to put it on. Remember, drinking and drugs can cause fetal poisoning. And not only drugs and drinking, but smoking cigarettes. There is a lot of chemicals in cigarettes. Because doctors are now telling women, oh, you can drink moderately when you're pregnant. Why would you put any kind of toxin in your body when you're pregnant? I don't believe in that at all. I know that maybe 1 or 2 drinks will not cause fetal poisoning, but it still can't be good for the baby. My second husband was a victim of fetal poisoning. His mother was so drunk when she delivered him, she didn't even know she had the baby. He was born with his legs underdeveloped. So when my husband was a full-grown man, from fingertip to fingertip was 5'10". So that's how tall you should be. He was less than 5 foot. There was a good maybe 11 inches to a foot less of his legs than there should have been. And his feet were, the toes didn't even develop from the fetal poisoning. Now I know that was an extreme, but something that can do that, I wouldn't put any of it in my body if I was pregnant. So if the doctor tells you go ahead and have a drink once in a while, I would probably abstain. And if anybody wants to voice their opinion against me, you can. I have no problem with that. Caffeine. I do not believe taking caffeine while you're pregnant. I didn't know this with my son. And I had morning sickness really bad, and the doctor told me, drink some Coke. It'll settle your stomach.
Mm.
And I did. And it did settle my stomach. Shortly after, and now I'm just such a ditz. I was only 19, no, I was 20 when I was pregnant with my son. And I wish I had been smarter. Because I would drink this Coke, and my son would bounce around in there to the point that I used to tell people he was going to come out like, the alien out of that guy's stomach. Because he would bounce around like crazy in there. Well, no wonder I was hyping him up on caffeine.
Mm.
Caffeine, as we know, thins the myelin sheathing. My son, at 6 months, was diagnosed with having ADD and hyperactivity disorder. At 6 months, they want to put him on Ritalin because he only slept 2 hours a day, a 24-hour period. So it affects the baby's adrenals, and it can affect the baby's brain and nervous system. I don't believe in doing caffeine while you're pregnant.
Is that for the man too?
Well, no, if a
I
woman's
mean,
already pregnant, it won't matter.
sorry, I forgot to say, well, she's conceiving.
Officially, I don't know. I don't know if it make a difference. I do know they found out that men who, I don't know if I have it on this slide or not. I don't. I think I have it in my stressed out one. But men who eat certain foods can cause diabetes in their daughters. I haven't heard anything about caffeine. Caffeine typically doesn't linger in the body like some chemicals do. Like when you smoke a cigarette, months and possibly years after you're done smoking a cigarette, some of those chemicals are still lurching within the body. Caffeine, not so much. A day or so and it's usually gone. And since men produce sperm all the time, new sperm all the time, I don't know. If I had to guess, I would say probably doesn't make much of a difference. But it's not good for you. So I would tell them not to. Anyhow.
Thank you.
hmm Do you know anything about that, Victoria, for sure?
No,
Okay.
I don't.
Can you talk about smoking? Well, it can also lower a baby's birth weight, and it has over 2,000 different chemicals. So smoking is just horrible. I know there's a lot of women do castor oil by mouth whenever their baby's overdue because castor oil is a purgative and it'll cause labor to start. But it can also cause the baby to have a bowel movement while in the womb. And that can cause a lot of problem because the baby is drinking that that fluid in the sac. It's drinking it all the time, breathing it in and drinking it while they're in the womb. So if it has a bowel movement in there, you can only imagine it's not good for the baby. So I don't like this. I don't like doing the castor oil. One of the best things to do to help labor on is have sex with your husband. The sperm, the faces, the cervix. Then if you do some walking and stuff afterward, the pressure on the cervix usually starts it. And especially if you've been taking alfalfa, which will make the pituitary gland very efficient and produce an oxytocin. But I know people that do it.